So we'll open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions for our distinguished panel? Or does anybody on the panel have any questions for each other? Arthur.
With respect to small businesses, there is one state where small businesses were able to get loans in the midst of the crisis. That state was North Dakota. The reason they were able to get those loans was because North Dakota has a state bank, not backed by the FDIC, but backed by the state of North Dakota. North Dakota also has a 3.8% unemployment rate today and zero deficit, or very small deficit, in terms of its state budget. While certainly North Dakota doesn't amount to a neighborhood in New York City in terms of population, the dynamic there is one that acknowledges and supports the idea that there is not enough return for larger financial institutions and investment bankers to get involved in, so that the state is required to intervene to offer loans to those smaller businesses that live in the communities and make the difference in terms of employment. Because what has happened in the private sector, small businesses that can't get loans are being driven to these business credit cards. And so that after an entrepreneur has maxed out on the mortgage and can't get a mortgage anymore, maybe even a second, and is trying to make a go of their business, they turn to these credit cards, which is the new way for the financial institutions, the banking institutions, to make their money. And obviously really put people into a deeper hole. And so it would seem to me that one of the things that I think, I wish both controllers were here, the state pension funds should be looking at, is creating that kind of state bank that offers small businesses what they need, and to work with investment firms to see that people are properly screened to get those loans sent out to those small businesses. Because it is, you're absolutely right, it is the engine that creates work for people. And as I said before, if we don't have a middle class, the rest of it all collapses. And I think that that's one of the aspects that small businesses need. They need a middle class who are, in fact, the consumers of their services and their product. And I think investing in state banks might do that. I'd like from the panelists any sense as to what they know about these state banks. I know there's some initiatives in some other states as well.
You know, the Controller's Office actually has a program to do some state controller do some investments in New York, you know, startup companies, but it's very small because obviously it's, you know, they're not in a position to take risk. And the Empire State Development Corporation also does some work in that area. But I think you're absolutely right that if we could find out a way to more reliably and cheaply finance small businesses, it would be terrific for the New York economy, Arthur.
I think part of the thing too that you mentioned North Dakota. My family's actually from there, and no one ever mentions North Dakota and New York. So thank you for that. But one of the things that North Dakota really has going for it that perhaps a larger state like New York could learn from is not only the state-run banking system that they have there, but the community banking system. People, if you walk into a bank in a small town in North Dakota, you look at the banker, and that's the guy that you're sitting with at church, and that's the guy who, you know, his kid is friends with your kid, and when you start talking about things like, you know, what's your credit risk, that person's going to look at you and know that you're not going to default on that loan because you don't want to be embarrassed in your community. And that's sort of, I mean, not to get, you know, really romantic about the heart of America or whatever, but I mean, that's kind of something that people need to think about. I mean, banking in New York, you know, I'm just a girl from North Dakota, but banking in New York seems to me to be just this incredibly complex, transaction-driven business. And if we're talking about community investment, small business investment, then it has to get back to some of those community ideas, I think.
Yes. Hold on, there's a mic coming.
I can talk about it They have those banks in New York, and anybody here from the teachers union can say that they have that bank here in New York. I happen to be from a small town in New York, Bethpage, and I belong to the Bethpage Federal Credit Union. So you can definitely do that. And I have one more thing to say, because I actually represent every person up here. I work on Wall Street, quote unquote. I am a middle-class citizen because I don't make that much money, but I work on Wall Street. And my parents are both union people. My mother is a teacher, and my father is a retired police officer. So when you sit up there and you debate or you speak down on Wall Street, I want to remind you that there's people like me who are going to be your kids. And that Wall Street gave us an opportunity that maybe we couldn't get. And as far as Karen, is that your name? Just so you know, I actually went to college at two New York schools. I have my undergraduate degree from Wagner College in Staten Island, and I have my graduate degree in public administration actually from CW Post, where I'm also an adjunct professor in public admin, so I actually know a lot about this stuff. And I'm just gonna say this, like, I had to pay out of pocket every cent, and I got TAP awards, which anybody in the union knows about. But you should realize that Wall Street isn't just these people that make millions of dollars. There's kids like me there. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say.
Next.
I have to second that. And where my ire goes up is with this general term Wall Street, because I believe it creates a divisiveness in a city that one of you pointed out is a melting pot. It's a melting pot city. And so I've owned my financial services communication business for 15 years on Wall Street. I have an office on Wall Street. And every time I hear on Wall Street all this money that's being made, well, I can tell you, I put hundreds of thousands of dollars back to keep my staff employed. That has no pensions, that has no security blanket, except me making sure we get paid from our clients that we must serve. So, and when we talk about greed, again, I believe everyone wants to be able to retire at some point in their life, stop working, and know there's money in the bank or money coming in. So everyone has, in any problem, I believe everyone needs to accept some portion of responsibility for what makes a problem build, which is, I can tell you this, I know every single person on my staff or every single union worker who's got a pension all wants to know that pension is building year after year, so when they retire, there is money there. And that, so maybe we're all greedy, because we all want to retire with money at some point, and that keeps putting pressure on a machine. Now, none of that's saying that faulty reporting or anything is right or moral, but it still puts a pressure on a machine that builds.
Bruce, you want to comment on that?
If I may, just to maybe lighten the atmosphere a little bit, and as we go into the holiday season, first wish you all a very, very happy holiday. Okay? And I don't say lighten it because I disagree with views in here, because I think the strength of Balcony, quite frankly, is all of these viewpoints where we bring business and labor together. We don't agree on lots of things, but I can tell you as a society we better start agreeing on some things, or we're not going to move forward. We're going to be where we are today, and today's not a good place to be, where we are today. So we have to find the common ground, and we need to listen to each other. That's the beauty of America. That's the beauty of Balcony. So we welcome all of these viewpoints, and I encourage you to be a voice in Balcony. We've done great things. We really have. We have the ear of Albany. We've really got a great audience up there. They know when we bring a viewpoint to them. We have vetted these issues. We've heard the passionate views from Arthur, from Andy, from the labor side of the business in Labor Coalition. We brought in the major businesses as well, and they know that ultimately when we go to Albany with a viewpoint, it's a collective viewpoint where we have found common ground. So it's not a labor viewpoint, it's not a business viewpoint, it's not a Democratic viewpoint or Republican viewpoint. It is a concerned citizen's viewpoint for the betterment of the state of New York. So that's what's beautiful about what I think we do here and all of the different viewpoints that we're hearing. So God bless America, happy holidays, and Lou, back to you.
All right. So